Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Lackawanna City Council meeting caucus for June 6, 2022. It's approximately 6:30 p.m. This is the opportunity, as most of the public knows, for council members to debate, inquire, discuss various agenda items, since we are all together in a formal meeting setting. And to that end, the first several items are administrative, and we will forego those. Departmental reports. This is item number 1, city controller checklist. We will reserve that to the regular meeting. Communications from the mayor. Item number 2, request city council approve a traffic study for the intersection of Abbott and Ridge Road. We don't have a firm grasp of what the cost for the study will be as of yet, but we hope to get further information once our consultant does appear here for the regular portion of the meeting. Hopefully he'll have some additional information we can better.
Mr. Council President, just for the record, I just want to state, I think some people might think that I'm against this traffic signal because it's taking so long, but I'm totally, I would prefer to have it, I want to just do it the right way. And I just want that for the record.
And Tony, those of us who work with you on a daily basis understand that your input is absolutely necessary, but your experience far overrides in many instances what seems to be something for the public to discuss otherwise. But for today's purposes, I understand there is a lot of discussion and a lot of interest and a lot of concern, given that Abbott and Ridge Light, for various reasons, this was a long and coming repair or replacement. We've run into difficulties with our contractor. Well, Tony, you can have the floor in a minute when we go over this stuff. But I think for the public's consumption and for traffic safety, I believe, at least from my opinion, that we do need a traffic study and do need to react to whatever they say appropriately, so that hopefully we can alleviate any dangerous situations in the future.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you. Anyone have any comments on item number 2, the communication from Mayor Iafallo? Any council members? Moving on to item number 3, our Director of Recreation, Director Laxo, requests City Council approve use of Veteran Stadium by Codex Elite Sports Training for flag football games and practices indicated on their schedule attached. From August 1st to October 24th, 2022, insurance was provided. Anyone have any council members have any comments on item number 3?
They've been here before, right?
They're kind of a splinter group. We have the LA Sports Club that has been doing flag football for a long time under Darrell Glover's supervision. This is his brother. I believe his first name is Desmond. They're breaking it up into 2 sections. One that Darrell is still going to be running is more of a youth oriented. This is more for young adults. So it's the same, but a little bit different.
So do we approve the other one?
Yes. Yeah. Darrell's group has put it in requests earlier.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Those are on Sunday night?
I believe these are Sundays. I thought I included a schedule, but I may not have.
And isn't it accurate, the director, that this individual who's run other programs in the city has been very successful at doing that?
Absolutely. They offer a lot of programming to youths in the city. I like to help them whenever we could because they do a lot of selfless work.
Yeah, I agree. Very dedicated to the youth in our city, and we do appreciate that. We should express that to him and his team.
100%.
Thank you. Let me digress for a minute because I see Jason here from our consulting firm. We have on our agenda, Jason, item number 2, a communication from Mayor Iafallo requesting a traffic study. You're familiar with that, Abbott and Ridge Road. Amongst the other problems that we've experienced with our contractor being less than diligent or absent entirely from getting the work done, do you have an idea of what it might project to be the cost of the of the traffic study?
So a traffic study that would require analysis for upwards of 24 hours of information to collect raw data and then process the data and provide a recommendation pending all of the 9 warrants that are required by the MUTCD is somewhere in the $5,000 range. That would be a cursory review and a recommendation. If you're looking for something more substantial where you're looking to identify alternatives to the existing conditions, including the analysis, you're looking at about $10,000, in which case that would come with a full report, recommendations of alternatives that would be in addition to just adjusting the signal itself. And that would provide you, if nothing else, a warrant analysis, a report, and then multiple alternatives.
Okay, Jason, we have received a communication from a citizen, Ms. Narabesky, outlining several issues regarding that intersection and the problems that we've experienced there, including police responses. Have you seen that communication?
I haven't seen that, but I can tell you that dating back to 2017, we've been reviewing the Abbott and Ridge intersection. In doing so, we've had multiple communications with the county as their stakeholders in this as well, because they're the north-south direction. We've discussed alternatives with them. In short, the warrant analysis there with the volume of traffic that you have doesn't necessarily warrant a dedicated left turn on the north or the southbound direction, although you do have that in the one direction with the signal. Our recommendation, and in concurrence with discussing this with the Erie County DPW, is that MileVision be installed. Allow MileVision to do what it's best at doing, and that is assessing a traffic intersection, identifying the methods that can be best implemented to allow traffic to flow freely, and then reassess that after 2 or 3 months of data collection and see if there's any improvement, or in some cases, which we would highly suspect not to be the case, but finding out that there's actually some backing up of traffic. We've never seen a situation where that occurred. I can't say that it isn't going to happen, right? That'd be bad for business. But what we can do is we can assess the data, identify whether or not it's improving the conditions, and if it is, find out whether it's really justified to make any other action beyond that at all. This is a $15,000 to $20,000 investment. Actually, it might be slightly more than that now, $25,000 or more for MileVision. Whereas redoing the entire intersection is not only going to require months, if not years, worth of back and forth through the county. It's going to require right-of-way acquisitions. It's going to require restriping. It's going to require widening. There's all sorts of things that could come with this. If we open up that can of worms and we start going down that design criteria, we're talking a substantial project. This isn't just restriping of a roadway and putting in new signals. The Erie County DPW made it very clear that if we go down that road, it has to be done right, and it has to be done right for a long duration of time. They're not going to back up and say, well, we just gave you guys a dedicated left turn lane. They're saying that if we do that, we have to have a dedicated through, a dedicated right turn, and a dedicated left. Right now, there's not enough space for that. So if we do that, we have to go wider.
There's definitely enough space, because it's at all 3 corners right now.
Well,
You have a dedicated straight, you have a dedicated left, and you have a dedicated right on every corner except coming south, going north,
Which
okay,
has to
onto
widen.
Ridge Road.
It has to widen.
Now,
the
what
flow.
happens, the car's coming South Buffalo, and there's 3 lanes coming from South Buffalo. You have the turning lane, you have a straight lane, and you have a right-hand turn lane. What happens, the people get behind the people that are turning left, and they scoot around there while you're trying to make a left-hand turn, and this is where a lot of the collisions are happening.
And again, this is warrant analysis. Okay, Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices strictly states you do not meet warrants based on your volume of traffic.
Right.
If you put this in, you're actually putting yourselves in harm's way, because now you're doing something that's not warranted per the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That puts the city at risk. So what we have to do is we have to ensure that everything that we do and we provide as far as a design is a warranted condition. Right now, we do not meet that condition.
What gets me is when they start saying it's not wide enough. Every intersection is exactly, there's 5 lanes going across. 2 going away, coming into the intersection, there's 3. All the intersections, every one of them has it, except you don't have a left turn.
Again, your warrant analysis though says that you have to have different conditions for different volumes of traffic,
Okay.
right? So right now, and again, this is engineering speak,
Mhm.
they want a through right, a through, and a dedicated left.
Right.
Okay, so
Mhm.
those are conditions that would change the entire orientation of your striping, the signalization, and everything else that comes with it. Now, Mile Vision, all right, Mile Vision is gonna assess your traffic data. It's gonna allow traffic to flow freely until it clears the lane,
Mhm.
all right? In which case, you shouldn't have backups the way that you have backups now. Right now, you're basing it entirely on timing. So what we're doing is we're telling the signal, we're gonna input data that's gonna say, you can make a left turn, but you can only do it for 20 seconds. Then you're gonna go straight, all right, and then we're gonna go red. Then the other direction's gonna go left and straight, right? Mile Vision's gonna say, okay, maybe we can go left and left together, and we can clear that entire, that traffic log, and then we can go both straight for 2.5 minutes until that clears. What that's gonna do is it's gonna drastically reduce the amount of congestion in all directions. Now, what it can do is it can assess that data. Every day, it's gonna compile all the information, and it's gonna say, okay, on Thursdays, generally speaking, we have these conditions. It basically is artificial intelligence that's gonna do, data logging, and it's gonna improve those conditions every day. And the longer we get data collection, the better the signalization is gonna become. Okay, and it's not just gonna say on Thursdays it has to do this. It's gonna say this Thursday, we've got a different condition. Let's change this up to match what we have. Right?
The concern I have, Jason, is whether it's a full-blown study or not, whatever is warranted and appropriate for that intersection, given the conditions that we've experienced so far, the concern I have is the liability to the city if something isn't done and should have been done. So if the study's gonna point out to us what needs to be done, then we need to get it done, whether the county's a partner in it or not, or whatever the case may be, because if it's shown to be a liability to the city, the $25,000 is just a pittance should somebody be killed in an automobile accident compared to the liability and the damages flowing from that accident.
Understood. That's a great point, but I will say this, no matter what you do, Mile Vision should be a component of your solution. Mile Vision is going to improve all of your traffic conditions regardless of what the final outcome is. Okay, if you maintain the existing conditions today and you find out that Mile Vision comes in and solves your problem, you've got a cheap solution and a really great long-term solution that's only going to improve because the technology is only getting better. Right? In addition to that, I will say that you guys have a plan in place, which you may not all be aware of, that's identifying whether or not we can implement this same technology all the way down the corridor, okay, in both directions on Ridge Road. As we do that, every time that we do that, we can synchronize Mile Vision so that it understands, I just released a platoon of 50 cars, it's coming to South Park, right? Now I gotta figure out, can I get those 50 cars through the next intersection quickly as it approaches instead of stopping them and then having another traffic jam. So it's going to do this, and the more we do that, the more we can simplify and streamline the flow of traffic. Beyond that, NITEC, which is the traffic organization that's really managing everything in Western New York and beyond, including connections with our neighbors to the north, wants to be a part of this. They would like to work with you to get you into their system. And as you get engaged with NITEC, they can start implementing things like emergency services where when somebody's trying to evacuate your community for any reason, they can help you and they can identify where to go from Lackawanna, whether it's north, south, east, or west, not going west, but east, right? They can help do that and they can control that from their location. And then they can engage that if there's a big event happening in Lackawanna the same way. So this is where the technology is going. Right now you're in isolated 2 or 3 locations. As this expands, that's going to make traffic better, and it gives you an opportunity to engage the entire region and how their traffic systems work too.
All right, Jason, thank you so much. Tony, you had Commissioner of Public Works, we had some comment.
Just a small example of what Jason means. When Nason was made one way in the beginning for those few weeks, months or whatever. Traffic jam in there was horrendous. Everybody was complaining about it. Once we put mile vision in, over the last 8 months, we really don't have that much, the traffic flow is a lot better. It's still a little tough at rush hour coming home, but it has lightened up a lot, where we don't have the complaints we had before.
Thank you, Tom. Any other council members have any questions of Jason or Tony on this?
So you would recommend we do the study? Right?
Yes, sir. To give you guys the resources that you need, the data you need to give your constituents an answer, we absolutely would support a traffic study. And we also feel that this is the same condition that you should take, or position that you should take with Lackawanna. Provide a proper assessment of the traffic study. We know already Lackawanna does not meet certain warrants just based on traffic flows. We know that. We don't have all the data because we haven't done a full-blown study. But again, it's the best use of your money to get the information you need, right?
Do you, when you're doing this traffic study about cars, do you do it with pedestrians too?
It's a full, yes, it's a study on, it's primarily focused on cars, but
I mean, you
there
have
will be
a
information.
quarter mile here where not one pedestrian can get across the street without taking their lives in their hands.
Understood. And to further support my suggestion of utilizing technology, Mile Vision does these also every day. It's tracking buses, cars, trucks, pedestrians, cyclists, motorcyclists, every different type of data collection you are looking for, they're providing you with that information, right? So,
And Jason, while you're at it, at that corner of Lackawanna and Ridge Road, are you involved in the light that's proposed to go up there?
we're proposing to you that we take a step back right now with that and do an assessment of the traffic study before we do a design of the traffic signal. I cannot confidently with a professional stamp put on a piece of paper that we should absolutely put a traffic signal there without having a study done, because it would put me in jeopardy of saying that I think you need a signal where you may not. And
The problem is we have folks down there who catch the bus and can't cross the street.
understood. So my recommendation is that we do a proper traffic study, that we give you an assessment of existing conditions and give you an analysis of different options for solutions. The silver bullet lining of let's just throw a traffic signal up is what most communities really jump to, and it's not always the best answer. In fact, most of the time it's not the right answer. Safety, and I know that this is not going to be like something that goes over well with a lot of people. The safest form of travel right now in a situation like where you see right there is likely going to be what nobody wants to hear, and that's probably a roundabout. Okay? The reason for that is it's the shortest distance from point A to point B to a safe place to safe place for a pedestrian. In addition to that, it slows traffic down, but it never fully stops traffic, right? I know that this is the thing that nobody really loves to talk about, but the reality is that if you look at the data, that is overwhelmingly the safest form of transportation for pedestrians, bicyclists, cyclists, even EMS services going through things. They can go over the curb lines safely, and they never have to stop.
One more question for you. From South Park to Abbott Road, every traffic light coming off the side streets has a signal or a detector in the ground, and those lights will not change until a car pulls up.
Right.
Okay? Now, what I don't understand is that we have all our traffic lights going all the way to Abbott Road. Well, I don't understand why every single traffic light was pulled out of the first ward with not having at least one that had the sensor on the ground, like say Lackawanna, that would change. That light was there at one time. There was one at Ingham. There was one at Gates. They get rid of all. Then we were told all this bullshit, I think. But
It may
you
sound
understand
that
where
way.
I'm coming from?
I do, and
So-
I'll tell you the same thing that, again, at least the court of public opinion is going to kind of sway probably the opposite way of what I'm going to say here, but it is, again, not the best solution to put a signal because you've got a few hundred cars in a day. Warrants are designed by the federal government for a very good reason. That's to make sure that we don't just stop traffic on your main lines, especially your main line through your community, to allow for small volumes of traffic when they can take alternate routes to other areas that are collecting their traffic. One example would be, you can get to South Park, right through the ward. It's gonna zig and zag from back and forth to get there, but you can do it, right? What they wanna see is a safe transmission of traffic to an alternate route before they get to the main road. Okay, and this is, again, it's not the most, the simplest solution, but it is also not a good idea to stop all of your through traffic every 5 minutes. I will tell you this, it took me 15 minutes to get here today, and my building is 6 miles east of here.
What's that?
West Seneca, yes. So, people don't want to go to your community
Yeah, the
if
problem,
it
the problem
takes them a
wasn't,
lifetime to get there.
the problem wasn't coming into Lackawanna.
It was getting through Lackawanna, because I had to
You gotta
stop.
remember, I grew up in a day when Beckham Steel was at its peak. And I'll tell you what, between 2 and 4, you couldn't get down Ridge Road. It was bumper to bumper all the way from South Park to the turnpike.
And Dean,
You know?
that's an excellent point. You're actually helping my point.
Okay.
Because you're actually seeing a 10% reduction in traffic volume over the last 8 years. Okay, on your main line. And part of that's because it's easier to get from point A to point B to taking alternate routes. As you reduce your traffic volume, you need to reduce your traffic control. So what we don't do is we don't add lights controlling traffic. We try to simplify what we're doing with road diets like you guys did down Ridge Road, which I can tell you already, it's definitely helping your traffic.
And do you know how many complaints we got?
You know what?
Oh, it takes you
Again,
another 5 minutes to get to work. Too bad. Because you have a 30-mile-an-hour zone that people were doing 45 miles an hour and passing each other like idiots. And Cody took care of that for us, and it's been fantastic ever since.
Your safety has improved, your
That's
pedestrian
right.
access
Absolutely.
has improved. Your traffic hasn't stopped, but it's slowed down.
If they don't like it, go another way. You're cut through Lackawanna just to get to the through lane.
And this is exactly what happens on main thoroughfares,
Right,
right?
gotcha.
We use them as shortcuts.
Yep.
So what we don't want to do is we want to slow them down safely, we don't want to stop them. We have to be very careful where we do that. Otherwise, we do put you guys into a precarious position where you may have created accident conditions where they aren't. And in Steelawana, because you're so close in proximity to Route 5, one thing that our traffic engineer brought up that I hadn't thought about is that is a very large intersection. Just the spacing, because you have that commercial access in the north side. People may find that they see yellow and they speed up if they get a signal. And my fear, and this is the thing that he presented that I never even thought about, is that you're going and you have somebody come around a person making a left, and they get in and they see a concrete or a dump truck coming at them, right? Now we've got a much bigger problem. So these are things and conditions I just present to you as food for thought. Our recommendation is an honest traffic study. It gives you a real opportunity to digest the information. It gives us an opportunity to give you the information in the truest of forms.
We've got some more to do, Jason. Thank you very much for your input and your help. I would ask the public, please silence your phones. All right, anyone else?
Mr. Council President.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be a lot less traffic with $5-6 a gallon gas. Were you talking about having more zoning like this? I go by there every day and I never see anybody pulling out of it. I don't know why we even need a light there. That could be part of our study, all the way down there.
The studies are specific to intersections. So
Okay.
We've already ordered that.
Yeah, I
You
know.
guys voted on that
Yeah, I
last
know
time we
that.
started working on it.
We voted on LED lights on Abbott.
That's what we're just talking about.
Can I ask about what's going on with that as long as we're talking about that intersection?
Well, I think they poured the concrete, at least at South Park and Sheriff Parkway.
No,
They did
I'm
that.
talking about.
No, I understand that. Tony, do you have any?
Oh, I just spoke with the contractor, they're coming in to put the loops in on those two intersections. And again, I don't have an exact date of when they're gonna come to wreck the whole thing, but hopefully it'll be by the end of
And
July.
they took all of their stuff that we bought for them too?
So we're talking about a couple different
Yeah,
things here.
we're getting a feel inside of.
Abbott
Yeah.
and Rick.
All right.
LED lights, were supposed to be in, we voted on it before last year.
So the Abbott and Ridge we're talking about now?
I don't know, what's your question?
Start off with Elm, why don't you stick with that and let's get past
Well, no,
that.
we're done with Elm View. That's a different topic, it's not even on the agenda.
Yes, it is. Further down, Abbott Ridge, the LED light was supposed to be put in. I got a lot of complaints. People pulling up, going west in the evening, and they couldn't see the light. There was quite a few accidents.
Yes, that LED lighting will take care of that situation. Well, that's why,
They're not in yet, right?
no, this is what you have to vote on to give us, to supplement the
I
lines.
thought we voted on that last year.
We did, but what happened, we voted on it a couple years ago. What happened
Yeah.
was, we got the contractor that we requested, he backed out of the contract, never came to work, but we kept the equipment from that transit. So Mr. Judah is in the process of getting that stuff back from him. In the meantime, we need money to move forward with that signal light to get it upgraded. And the cost is definitely more than what it was before, but Modal Vision is added into that cost, so they have right now.
That's the item number 6.
Yeah, that's not West Elm View.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the next item. Again, a communication from Director of Recreation. Item number 4, request council approval for Veteran Stadium for Church of God Restoration and Mercy House for an event scheduled for August 26th and 27th. I believe we had given approval on this, but was contingent on receiving proof of insurance prior to the event. Director Laxo, you have any additional information on it?
Yeah, it was contingent not only on proof of insurance, which they have provided, but also contingent on them providing a documentation of what their programming is going to consist of, just to make certain that it was up to our community standards. And they have provided that to me. I forwarded that along with my my council request for your review.
Thank you, Director. Anyone have any questions on item number 4? Moving on to item number 5, again, a communication from Director of Recreation, request City Council approval for the use of Margaret Playground July 13th and Franklin Playground August 3rd by the Lackawanna School District for reading and crafts program. Anything you want to add on that, Director?
Just reached members of the Lackawanna School District reached out to me, wanted to know if they could utilize their playgrounds for programming that's going to be administered by some of their teachers on a volunteer basis. And I thought it was a good idea, so I forwarded it to you guys for your approval.
Anyone have any questions? Moving on to item number 6 from Mr. DeSantis, Director of Public Works, requesting additional funds for 2 projects, approximately $78,000 for Abbott and Ridge Road traffic light signal, totaling the project of $130,000, an additional $25,583 for the Cleveland Avenue milling and paving project, bringing that project up to $270,000. Tony, anything additional you want to add on that?
No, I believe we covered it all in first hour here, so.
Well, I guess my question to you then is, if you're asking for $78,000 in additional money, is it a better idea to wait till we do the traffic study to see if there's going to be another upgrade?
So Jason could correct me if I'm wrong. If we still upgrade this equipment, and it's warranted that you need a turn signal there, we could add it on to that equipment that we're putting in now.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, very good.
And
Anyone
it
else have any
is in the plans in the event that that happens. This should encompass 99% of that. One thing that I'd like to address with Kevin is, we do have backplates included in this so that the traffic signals have a ring around them to help assist with your sight lines. They are obviously all LED.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions on item number 6?
I have just, why do we need 25,000 more for Cleveland Avenue? We didn't even start it yet.
So the first, again, correct me if I'm wrong, first bid we had was last year's prices for asphalt and materials. And as of June 1st, the spring construction season, the new bids came out. Plus, we're doing a little extra concrete work and moving a couple DIs.
Okay.
Because they're to bring up the intersection code for ADA.
So the new prices did come out?
Yes,
You
they're
had
up.
a note on there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that include rolling too?
No, Roland is not, we have no projects for Roland Avenue as of right now.
No, the DI said because of the.
All right,
We're in the way.
moving on to item number
Walk up the
7,
street.
from Director of Development, request City Council approval to attend New York State Conference of Mayors Community Revitalization Conference, June 8th and 9th, 2022, Syracuse, New York. Anyone have any issues with that? Funds are available. Moving on to item number 8, Director of Development, request City Council approve draft resolution pertaining smart growth community planning and zoning grant program. Anyone have any questions on that? It seems to be a very viable program. We thank the director for her work in both those areas concerning 7 and 8. Moving on to item number 9, from the city controller, advise City Council retirement assistant city attorney Anthony Savalio effective May 30th, 2022. Wish Anthony, wish Tony Godspeed and good health, and hopefully he gets a chance to enjoy his retirement, as we all wish we can eventually. But he served the city faithfully in several different capacities, and we thank him for his service to our community. Anyone else have any comments on item number 9? Item number 10, City Controller regards DPW Commissioner Anthony DeSantis' appointment of Mr. Peter O'Connor to the permanent position of signal maintenance worker. Requesting City Council approve attached ordinance changing title from maintainer to signal maintenance worker. And Tony, there was a special education involved in this, and this will help us maintain our traffic signals, given
Yes.
his training.
Yes, it will.
And that's the reason for this?
Yes, it is. We upgraded a maintainer position for the signal maintenance. We sent him to school. He is an electrician. He has qualified for this job. It probably will save the city tens of thousands of dollars once he's up to speed on all the equipment and the computers and conflict monitors and everything. So
Right.
I think it's a great upgrade for the city.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone have any questions,
One
comments?
thing, did we send anybody else or just him?
So we did not send anybody else because,
Next year maybe?
pardon?
You said maybe we'll send.
Yes,
somebody else to
we
do
just,
something.
yeah, we just filled the other position, the maintainer, so there's a 6-month window there. We need to make sure everything
I think
works.
his father's still O'Connor, he's a right.
Yeah, he was electrician, yes.
Thanks.
Okay, item number 11, from the city controller, actually addressing the request from DPW Commissioner Anthony DeSantis, transferring $25,000 approximately to address the additional funding that's being requested on that. Also, the $78,000 regarding the Avenue Ridge traffic signal project. Anyone have any comments on item number 11? Moving on to item number 12, communication from Jennifer Narabesky Schwartz, submits comments, concerns, supporting data regarding safety of Abbott Ridge Road intersection. Full communication available at the city clerk's office. I would ask that a copy of that communication be forwarded to our consultants. Jason, if you have time to take a look at that, I think it's enlightening. And we thank Ms. Narabesky for her work in that regards and submitting that to us for review. Item number 13, from Sharon Kavanaugh, OLV Human Services, requesting the installation of a water line for the city of Lackawanna Community Garden on Bethlehem Street. This seems to be an annual request. Although the city pays a stipend for water use, Wade Turner's home is across the street. He's allowed us to tap into his outdoor faucet to keep that project for the students going across the street. Again, all of you is requesting that a permanent water line be installed. And I know Tony, Commissioner of Public Works, has looked into that. It's not an insignificant amount of money to install that for community garden, which may be a little bit prohibitive. Tony, you have anything on that?
So I put the applications through the water authority for meter boxes and meters to be put in, so we could put a line, water line into that project, but like you said, I don't know how we're gonna have an open water line in a field like that to keep it, so it's not turned on in the middle of the night and vandalized. So, but the process is, we're in the process of doing it.
All right. Anyone else have any comments on item number 13? Item number 14, communication from former city council member, First Ward, John Ingram, requesting several updates. One, traffic signal update for the light at Lackawanna, we discussed that. 2, update for Ridge Road light being out, I'm not quite sure where that one is. 3, requesting approval for speed bumps to be installed on Gates Avenue. 4, request City of Lackawanna follow Buffalo's lead regarding resale of donated items in an emergency. And 5, update on police report. We can take those now, or we could wait till the meeting for a formal response. It's up to Tony, either you or Director Wolf or Rick Judah.
Well, we talked about the traffic signal on Steelawana. What was the traffic signal that's out on Ridge Road?
Come up Fairview, we talked about this before,
Where?
Fairview. Fairview Ridge.
You want to
Yeah.
put a traffic signal in there?
No, where the lights are at, they're out,
Oh, you're talking about the street light.
yeah.
So I really haven't looked into this. I looked into it before. There was a street light on Fairview, but the property that you're talking about, isn't that a privately owned lot there?
He don't own, I don't think he owned the lights though, I think when we talked about it before, you said they had to, we had to call somebody from
Well, we don't put street lights on private property though.
the lights are already there. The lights were already there.
I'm gonna have to look into this week.
A third question, look, is it all right, John, speak on it?
I'll continue with this. There's a request for speed bumps to be installed on Gates Avenue. That's a request that we've been seeing more and more often. We've been experiencing problems with speeders throughout the city, not only in that area, but of course there's the playgrounds and a lot of the young people are in that area, creating a possible dangerous situation. I know this matter, but I discussed it with the mayor, and there's been no budgetary allotments for this current budget for any speed bumps to be installed. I know the housing authority put some speed bumps in that locale, but technically they didn't have jurisdiction to do that. They didn't ask the council approval, they just went and installed them. It's not a bad thing, and it's not, we're not complaining. It's just that they went ahead and installed them without city permission.
I, talked to Mark Cook and said, if the city gives them permission, you will put them on the base area around it. We just had a recent death there, a young woman, and I'm not saying that she was in the accident, they were speeding, and she was sitting where a teenager do whatever, she fell, she died. But most of the residents were talking about getting a petition anyway, because every day, they're speeding, they're riding the motor, whatever, they worry about their little kids, if the little kids run out in the street. Every day on the buses, when the buses are starting to pick up kids in school, we have cars go around the buses, don't stop, whatever. They're more concerned about just putting something to slow them down, because they're not slowing down. They're not slowing down, they're not doing none of that. The bus driver and the crossing guard, whatever, trying to tell them stop, they are just coming past, and they do it every morning.
Okay, thank you. Director Wolf, did you have a comment?
My personal problem with the speed bumps is that you're gonna start installing on certain streets. They're gonna be requested on every street. You have speeders on every street, you have people running through stop signs on every street. You have vehicles passing school buses on every street. That doesn't even, and I would refer this to Rick. You start putting speed bumps on streets, people are gonna start filing, they're gonna start suing the city because they're gonna say damage to their vehicle for whatever reason. They're gonna say, I was going 10 miles an hour. You're gonna have to change the speed signs. from 30 to, I think, 5 miles an hour. This is gonna occur on every street every request. And again,
I don't know of any other municipality that uses speed bumps on a regular basis. Number two, how can we do something like that without having the expertise to determine if it's even necessary? So we're gonna do another traffic study on Gates Avenue? And number three, if you do something without committing the resources or the knowledge that, or the investigation that's required to make a rational determination, and you're wrong, now we're gonna have more lawsuits. So I don't know what the answer is to that. I think the answer is to enforce the laws that already exist and to quit giving people jaywalking and parking tickets in traffic court and start making them take points. That'll slow it down when they start losing their license.
but I do understand, Johnny, the concern of the citizens. I get that.
I hear you and I respect whatever, but I can tell you this. If a child gets hit on gate, because these people are not protected, and I'm not blaming police or whatever, being or whatever, but they are speeding so bad, it is dangerous.
I understand, John. But again, John, if someone's driving down the street, doesn't see the speed bump, or is going too fast, they lose control when they hit the speed bump and kill a child. That's a problem too.
I understand that, but this has been going on for so long.
I get it.
This has been going on, and say what you want about the speed bump they put in the Baker home, it's stopping people from coming down there doing what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
And I'm sorry that we don't have to change or something, because the residents, the only reason I think, because the residents coming, but they're scared. They're scared for their little ones or whatever. And even like the bus drivers and stuff like that, they have no control when these people just swerve. Just this morning they're doing it, you know? And I understand the study law, but you're not gonna be able to tell their parent that one of their child get hit, that you got to.
And it's, as John, the director said, it's happening all over the city, and it's not just this city. Jason, you had a quick comment?
I'm just gonna let you know what we're experiencing now. I'm a City of Buffalo resident, and they are putting in speed tables in my neighborhood. It's the entire district. Everything that has been presented today has absolute validity. What I can tell you is that the process was at least 18 months from the time that they petitioned the residents. They actually reached out to every single house on every single street and asked, do you want any speed control? Here's your options. Do you not want speed control? Do you want it more enforced? The solution was really not presented to us. Maybe it was presented in council, I missed it, but they did start installing speed tables. There is substantial amounts of signage. Reason being, for all of the suggestions that were presented. If you introduce them, you've obviously got other things that you have to deal with. There's a change in speed, there's a change in traffic pattern, there's an opportunity for problems. All valid points here. I experienced the same issue on my street personally. You saw a kid get hit by a car. Right, that's actually what transpired from us as well. My suggestion again, to do it on this discussion, reach out to the City of Buffalo, talk to them about how they approached every step of the way. Their approach I thought was very, very good. It was very well thought out. It took them a very long time to do it, and they presented it in a way where they put the signage up, then they put in the speed tables. So you had some time to understand that there was a change in pattern coming. These are all things that you'd have to consider if you do this. Again, we're happy to help you. We would work directly with the city to do it. I know the commissioner over there very well. And it did solve the problem. I don't know if it moved the problem, but it did solve the problem locally. But you know, these are all things.
Question for you. There's speed bumps and there's speed humps.
Right.
The table you're talking about, it's left in constantly. The plows, they don't take it in and out, right?
No, and
Now,
that's
the
the thing.
speed bump is what everybody thinks is, you know, boom, boom, you hit.
Exactly,
These speed
yeah.
humps, I mean, Wegmans has a speed hump in there to slow people down. And they're, like you said, they're year round, so there is a difference that I think a lot of people don't
Your
understand.
point about traffic slowing is spot on. It's a 30-mile-an-hour zone.
Right.
You have to go no more than 15 over the speed bump.
Right.
That's the intent, just lay down. And yes, absolutely, all these points are all valid.
So it looks like it's gonna be an ongoing dialogue, ma'am.
I live on Ingham and Odell. And last year we had an accident where a child got hit on Ingham and Odell. Now, they don't stop at the stop sign. They just ride right through it. And I went to a meeting down at St. Anthony, and I mentioned it to the gentleman down there, one of the I mentioned it to the meeting down there, and I told him that they don't stop. They just come down Ingham, and they go all the way without stopping. And I think that needs to be addressed. I didn't plan to speak today, I just came to the meeting. But now that we're on this topic, I think we're talking about what he's talking about and everything else, but this child got hit. He's right around the corner, you hear this scream, and then everybody's jumping. So I go around the corner, and here's this child that got hit by a car, this little regular boy. He had a big nut on his head, his parents was crying and everything. Something needs to be done. And everybody's talking about it, but nothing's being done. I really think that something needs to be done on Ingham, because nobody's stopping. I told one gentleman, and he came and said that he called a couple of people, but they're not every day. See, I live right on that corner, so I see it. I sit on my porch and I see people, they don't stop, they just, sometimes they tap and keep on going. So that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right. Item number 4, regarding resale of donated items, we could take that under advisement. As far as police reform, Director Wolf, is there anything different happening? I know you adopted a policy and that was implemented through the state.
That's correct.
Is there anything else in addition to that?
Yeah, we're continuing with the training, obviously community policing, changing the whole aspect of the police department for the city of Lackawanna. Is there something more specific, John?
The citizen advisory committee, advisory board that was working with you guys, they're supposed to be meeting regularly. They only met one time. One time, and that was right before April when they had to do it. In Buffalo, they're changing over, they're getting a new citizen advisory board. In Rochester, they meet every other month. Lackawanna has not met but one time. And that is because we have to put people on there who actually gonna have meetings.
I believe, I want to say that a couple people left that.
Yeah, but the point is, they only had one meeting, and the one meeting was at St. Anthony, and they already talked about the meeting that I had to follow with. We have to have a citizen advisory board, and we have to have citizens that actually get involved.
Citizens Advisory Board, what do you mean?
Just like in Buffalo has a citizen, the police department has a citizen advisory board, and then Rochester has
The Reform Board.
reform board. But you need to put people on there who actually involved. You know, the people that you have on there, like I said, they only had one meeting, and that was right before April when y'all had that meeting. That has to change, because people are talking about that right now. We need to do that. We need to get a new board, and we need to get new people on there, and put them on the board that actually gonna have meetings. They're not supposed to meet every other month. They're supposed to be talking to you, telling you some ideas, working with you, see if they can help you. If you got some information you want to go back to the community, that's what we have to do. That has not been done. And police reform, I don't supposed to invite people on bicycles and stuff like that. I live in Gates. Nobody been through Gates. Nobody been through Gates last year, whatever. And then they go home and they've been nice for the little
The
playground.
bike patrol's coming out.
Okay. But I'm just saying, we need it on regular right now. We need that advisory board. Because I'm asking about it because I'm figuring that we're gonna do this. But I'm not letting this go.
Oh, I don't want you to let it go, Johnny.
I do.
I don't want you to let it go.
And it's very important.
And John, we thank you for your input and your questions and your attentiveness to these issues. All right, now, can't even see it, it's 20 minutes.
7:20.
7:20.
7. I am formally calling to order the regular meeting of the Lackawanna City Council for June 6th, 2022. Would ask everyone rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. City Clerk, will you take the roll?
Absolutely, Mr. Council President. Councilmember Muflahi has been excused for family situation. Anderson. Here. Moretti. Here. Sirlik. Here. Morano. Here. Department heads, law. Here. Development.
Here.
Public Works. Here. Public Safety. Here. Controller.
Here.
Recreation.
Here.
Public Information.
Here.
Hearings from citizens, can I have that sheet, please, after the gentleman signs it?
Yes, sir.
Just a reminder to the public and those wishing to address City Council this evening, I want to remind you that those items that you wish to address really need to be part of the tonight's agenda. So I would ask that you abide by that rule. One of our former council members, John Kwasniewski. Mr. Kwasniewski, do you have something you wish to add to this council meeting?
Yeah, a few things down here. Like number 5, it's got drinking playground on there. They're supposed to build that pond, swimming pool, or whatever. Do you know when they're gonna start that by your chance?
So, Lauren, you have anything on that?
We are supposed to break ground this year. It is supposed to open up next year.
Okay, well, I just wanna give a recommendation only to, when they're gonna do Center Street, you probably wanna drain for a pool or something in there. So before they put the new sidewalk in there and curbs and everything, they're gonna dig up the sidewalk and put in the drain.
It's all in the
Could
plans.
you put that into the,
Yeah, it's in the works with that, it's connected,
and a water line probably through there?
yes.
With the, signal on Abbott Road there, the street, what we're gonna do. We bid that out, but I heard after a while, before I put that on there. They did that like 2 or 3 years ago or something, I remember when I was there.
Started it.
And then that guy, I heard the story that he backed out, that's what I was gonna ask what happened to it.
Yes.
Wasn't there a second bid on that job?
There actually was 3 bids on it, and if I'm not mistaken, the other 2 bids were triple the cost of the original, projected cost of the project.
As I was wondering why you didn't go back to second guy or third guy.
Way over this 130,000, I think one bid was close to 200,000 at the time.
And we were talking about Cleveland Cleveland Avenue Street getting paved. And you're talking about receivers gotta be replaced and everything.
So, ADA, to be ADA compliant, you can't have a receiver right in your sidewalk, where you're walking off the sidewalk, the intersection, right into a receiver. I mean, that's a hazard for any blind person. So that has to be moved out of the way of the intersection.
Okay. They ain't adding any more receivers to the street.
They are not adding, county will not add any more receivers.
Okay,
to
because I
their
see
system.
the cost of it and everything else, because the county owns all the receivers. That's what I was
Right,
wondering
so, but,
why we were paying for it.
well, it's cost of doing business with Erie County stores.
Yeah. And, Center Street.
We're on the center. I don't know, Jason, you got an update for the gentleman?
Yeah, the Erie County
We're gonna have to wait 5 years now, so.
No, if you understood the amount of financing that went into this project and how we had to coordinate amongst other groups, you'd understand that that's the best thing that's happened to the community. Is that we took the time to get the funding that we needed from others, which put the least amount of burden on the community here. In addition to that, it's giving you the best results possible. So for number one, there's a 26-week lead time on water line. So we say go, it's still a half a year away. This is nothing to do with anything that we can control. The first thing that has to go on the ground is water line. The Erie County Sewer Department is going to be doing a review of the plans, and once they give us the green light, which they will, we'll be under construction in no time. We still have to bid the project. It'll be a 3-week bidding process like all municipal bids, and we'll be out for construction. So utility work should begin and wrap up the majority of that work at the end of this year. And then the road itself will be actually reconstructed in the spring of 2023.
So what we're gonna try and do this year is the water line and the storm sewer
And the sanitary lines.
and sanitary. They're doing storm too, right?
They're doing some of the storm.
As a suggestion, maybe the two of you could talk afterwards. That's not even an agenda item.
Okay,
Can we move on?
okay. Good, well, that's enough. That's enough.
Thanks, Jack, for
Thank you.
bringing back.
And thank you, Tony, for thanking John. Faith Gordon, Ms. Gordon, you have a comment on an agenda item or so?
Yeah, a couple of them, thank you. Faith Gordon, Alpine Street, Lackawanna. I actually missed some of you people.
Can we get on with your question, please?
Well, Fred, nice going, okay? It's a Zoom meeting and you got everything else going. I can't say that it's entirely professional. I wanted
thank
to
you for
say,
that
Tony,
comment.
I know that we've butted heads a couple times over the
You have to
years.
address your comments or your questions to the council, not to the
I
department
just
heads,
wanted
please.
to tell Mr. DeSantos that I have mad respect for him. I wish him a great retirement. You're gonna have to leave your brain in a jar in Annette's desk for everything that you know, so that they can follow up on it. But now that you've really pissed me off, I'll submit a list for next week, because you got a lot to work on.
And Mr. David Wallman.
My comments are not on this agenda right now because it just happened. It happened on Friday night. I don't know how many people are aware of it. Big shoot up that was on the corner of Dorrance and Abbott Road. I commend Mr. DePasquale and John for getting on it as soon as it happened. They've addressed part of the issue they wanted to. But how could that business have gone on for that long without it being properly licensed or anything?
Exactly.
That was open for how long? They were holding parties constantly. The police are well aware of the issues they've had over there with drinking and afterwards, the DWIs they've assigned on it. How could that business operate for that length of time and stay there?
Yeah, it was called a provisional license.
Okay,
And the way that the city works is if someone wants to open a business in the city, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, they go up to the city clerk's office, they sign and get a provisional.
okay.
Because to get their business
Do you know
started.
the
Now,
provisions of that license that they're operating under over there? Was alcohol allowed in that provisional license? Was food allowed in that
Again,
provisional license?
again, she was renting the building for what she claims was parties and birthday parties and receptions and stuff like that. Obviously, that was not the case. Obviously, last year, she also was running the same type of business right across the street from City Hall, which we shut that one down. And obviously, she's got 3 different buildings and they're all shut down now.
Okay.
All right. How the whole process works on getting licenses is not my area. But as soon as we found out what happened, obviously before that, we were already documenting some of the incidents that were happening, hoping that something like on Friday didn't occur, but it did occur.
Like I said, I commend you guys for acting as quickly as you have over there. Now that you brought up the provisional license, is there anything that can be done for the way that these provisional licenses are put out without having a set deadline or anything like that? You know, without spelling out? Go ahead.
All right, if I may, for those that don't know, I'm the city clerk here in Lackawanna, and my office is responsible for issuing a provisional license. To give you a little history, there was a time when there was no such thing as a provisional license, and the process for applying for a business registration was deemed clumsy and took a long time, and people had to jump through a lot of hoops. They had to wait for council approval, and businesses were getting frustrated because they said they couldn't open, and they were renting, and often cases they were tenants and they were paying rent and they couldn't open. So we came up with a system called a provisional license, and like anything new, you try to anticipate every scenario before you issue these to make sure that there's not gonna be a problem. In 99% of the provisional licenses that we've issued, there's been no issues. I did include in the language that I proposed, which is now part of the city charter, that if any information should develop that's derogatory or that affects public safety or anything else that has a negative impact on the city clerk's office has the right to simply pull the provisional license. To this point, my office had never officially received anything negative regarding that particular location. Had I known there was a police response there more than once, we could have pulled a provisional license. It wasn't until this latest incident that I was even aware there was an issue there, and we immediately pulled the license at that point in time. And also any provisional license that any other business associated with that owner had. We plan on revisiting the provisional license statute to see if we're going to possibly add some stipulations in there that aren't there now that maybe we didn't think about when we came up with the program. That's something that I'm gonna get with the Director of Public Safety, a city attorney, and the council and decide what, if anything, we're gonna do regarding the provisional license. But all I can tell you is there are times that A, you can't think of everything, and B, sometimes things slip through the cracks and it happens. All I can say is we did put in the stipulation that we could pull that license ASAP. And as a matter of fact, I had a conversation with the Director of Public Safety and also our council president. We're gonna add a provision that allows the Director of Public Safety to pull that license immediately without any further clearance from any of their office so that they can do something right at that moment. For example, right that night, they could have taken any license that she had and taken it away. In this last instance, we had to wait till I came in, signed the
She had
documents.
another party the next day, I think.
Well, she didn't have it because we pulled it before she had an opportunity, at least that was my understanding.
Yes. As far as I know, the patrols checked, and correct me if I'm wrong, patrols went and checked.
Okay.
She was
See,
supposed to have
we got
a
out there,
birthday party.
we
at
pulled
3
that
p.m.
provisional. I came in Saturday morning to pull that provisional so they couldn't conduct any more business there. But if we add the Director of Public Safety to that section, saying he also has the authority, if there's a circumstance that warrants a need for him to get involved, he then too can legally pull, and that would save one step and it would also be more timely. So again, it's a matter of refining things that are in place. You know, we do the best we can, and when things come up that don't work out as well as we'd like, then we make changes.
Now, there's something as you're talking right now over here. Is it something that you could possibly put in there that there's a list of any businesses operating within the city limits with a provisional license, that if there's a police report on any of those properties over there, that your department would be notified of it right away?
We could, but keep in mind, just a simple police response may not be enough to pull a provisional
Okay,
license.
but I'm just saying, to refine it at
Yeah,
that
and
point.
that goes with what I'm saying. We're gonna review it. We're gonna look at what we think we can make it better, make it more efficient. We don't wanna stop the provisional license program as far as I'm concerned, because businesses that are on the up and up and legitimate, we don't want them to have to wait.
Oh, I get it, I
We're
totally
trying to
get it.
become a business,
We
you know,
want to
pro-business
encourage business to
community.
come in here, right?
Right, we want people to wanna come here and not feel like they're being hassled and have to jump through a million hoops to open a business. You know, as it is, you know, before they can even open on the provisional license, they gotta go through zoning and planning to make sure that what they wanna do fits in with the characterization of the neighborhood, that it's zoned properly, that there's parking and stuff like that. So we just don't give provisional licenses. There's still a process in place.
Sure.
It's just that it could be refined, is what I'll leave it at.
Well, like I said,
And we plan on it.
I want to commend you guys for acting as quickly as you and decisively as you did, pull the license and put an end to it. But like I said, it was just operating for quite a long time, and there were more than 1 or 2 incidents that happened up there with the police response and issues after that.
And if that's the case, I will get with the director and we'll make sure that there's a little better coordination, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 23rd, 2022.
Random moves to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of May 23rd, 2022 is written.
Motion by Morano, seconded by Anderson to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of May 23, 2022 is written. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Departmental reports number 1.
Random moves to receive and file departmental report number 1.
A motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file departmental report number 1. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Communications from the mayor number 2. Mayor Iafallo requests the city council approve a traffic study for the intersection of Abbott and Ridge Road and an estimated cost between $15,000 and $20,000. That number is subjective.
Morano moves to approve request, given the uncertainty of the exact amount of funds needed for that study.
Moretti said.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Communications from Division Department Heads, number 3, Director of Recreation requests the City Council approve the use of Veterans Stadium by Codex Elite Sports Training for flag football games and practices as indicated on their included schedule between August 1st and October 24th, 2022. Proof of insurance is attached.
Morano moves to approve request with thanks to Mr. Glover for his continued efforts for the young people and some of the adults in our community for these kinds of recreational programs. Second, sort of.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to approve request. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Number 4, Director of Recreation requests the City Council approve the use of Veterans Stadium by the Church of God Restoration and Mercy House for the church event that was conditionally approved by your honorable body at the October 4, 2021 City Council meeting. This event is scheduled for August 26th and 27th, 2022. This approval is contingent upon receiving proof of insurance. And did you want to add the itinerary for that event? Is that in question?
Yeah, that was provided along with my initial request. I don't know if I didn't word it properly, but they did provide a copy of the program.
Okay, so it's just regarding the insurance.
Well, it was contingent upon receipt of both items at the October 4th meeting. Again, I don't know if I didn't word it properly to include the fact that the program was included, outlining the events of the day, but I did include that with the request.
Morano moves to approve request conditioned upon receipt of appropriate insurance documentation and acknowledging receipt of the itinerary, which was included in our packet, the City Council. Anderson, second.
So I have a motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request. Apparently we have both items in our possession that is requested, so there should be no issues. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Number 5, Director of Recreation requests the City Council approve the use of Martin Road Playground on July 13th and Franklin Playground on August 3rd by the Lackawanna City School District for a reading and crafts program.
Move to approve.
Anderson second.
Motion by Sirdike, second by Anderson to approve request. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Number 6, DPW Commissioner submits the attached email requesting that the City Council approve adding funds for 2 projects. The first is adding $78,202 to the Abbott Ridge Road traffic signal update, bringing the project up to $130,000, and the second is adding $25,583 to the Cleveland Avenue Milling and Paving project, bringing that total up to $270,000. Just keep in mind, this will become actionable when we get to item number 11.
Morano moves to receive and file.
Moretti said.
We have a motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Item number 7, Director of Development requests City Council approval to attend the New York State Conference of Mayors and ICON Community Revitalization Conference to be held June 8th and 9th, 2022 in Syracuse, New York. Ample funds are available in the Development Travel Allowance account.
Morano moves to approve request.
Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Item number 8, Director of Development requests the City Council approve the attached resolution pertaining to the Smart Growth Community Planning and Zoning Grant Program.
Morano moves to receive and file, act on resolution.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file, act on resolution. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. That resolution authorizing the mayor and/or director of development to apply for, execute, and sign any and all documents related to the application for grant funding for the New York State Consolidated Funding Application, known as CFA, under the Environmental Protection Fund Smart Growth Program. The City of Lackawanna is responsible for a 10% match of any received funds.
Morano moves to adopt resolution.
Moretti said.
The motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adopt resolution is written. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Item number 9, City Controller advises the City Council of the retirement of Assistant City Attorney Antonio Savaglio effective May 30th, 2022.
Morano moves to receive and file with the appropriate thank you to Mr. Savaglio for his longtime service to the city of Lackawanna.
Second all?
So I have a motion by Morano, second et al. To receive and file and pass along the City Council's congratulations and wish of good health for Mr. Savaglio going forward. Anderson.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirlik.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Item number 10, City Controller, with regard to DPW Commissioner Anthony DeSantis' appointment of Mr. Peter O'Connor to the permanent position of signal maintenance worker, it is requested the City Council approve the attached ordinance changing the title from maintainer to signal maintenance worker in budget code A3020.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirlik to receive and file act on ordinance. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. That ordinance amending the 2021-2022 budget ordinance adopted May 18, 2021, and the 2022-2023 budget ordinance adopted May 23, 2022 by changing the budget code for A320.101-1 from maintainer to signal maintenance worker.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written. Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirlik to adopt ordinance as written. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Number 11, City Controller, with regards to an email received from DPW Commissioner Anthony DeSantis as item number 6, I request the City Council approve the attached ordinances regarding fund transfers.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
I have a motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file act on ordinances. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. First ordinance is an ordinance amending the 2021-2022 budget ordinance adopted May 18, 2021 by appropriating $25,853 of the city's fund balance to the budget code for Cleveland Drive CDBG project.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to adopt ordinance as written. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. The second ordinance is amending the 2021-2022 budget ordinance adopted May 18, 2021 by appropriating $78,202 of the city's fund balance to budget code for Abbott and Ridge Road traffic signal project.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written.
Already second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adopt ordinance as written. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Communications from citizens, number 12, Jennifer Narabeski Schwartz, resident submits comments, concerns, supporting data regarding the safety of the Abbott Road and Ridge Road intersection. Full text of her communication is available in the clerk's office.
Morano moves to receive and file with the thanks to Ms. Narabeski Schwartz, copy to Jason from our consulting engineers.
A motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file, directing me to supply Jason with Clark Patterson Lee a copy of the text for Ms. Narabeski. Anderson?
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Number 13, Sharon Kavanaugh, OLV Human Services, submits a communication to the City Council regarding installing a water line for Lackawanna Community Garden.
Morano moves to receive and file.
Already second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Item number 14, John Ingham, resident, submits a question to the City Council regarding an update for the traffic signal light at Lackawanna Avenue, an update for the Ridge Road light being out, traffic or street light. Number 3, requesting approval for speed bumps to be installed on Gates Avenue. Request the City of Lackawanna follow Buffalo's lead regarding the resale of donated items in an emergency. And item number 5, update on police reform.
Morano moves to receive and file.
Already second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. President?
Any of the council members wish to raise any old business or tabled items at this time?
I'd like to say something real quick, please.
Council President, yes, sir.
Director Wolf, I thought maybe, it would be nice if you could maybe up update us on what's going on, what happened the other night.
Oh,
And, I
okay,
didn't hear none about it till today, I mean, I don't know what, maybe you could shoot us an email, you know, within the next couple of days.
absolutely,
And, it would
absolutely.
be nice to know what's going on, besides all the stuff on Facebook, and Twitter, or whatever, I'm not into that.
Sure. I'll give you guys an email.
All right, keep us in the loop. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other council members have anything they wish to discuss? If not, Morano moves to adjourn.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adjourn the meeting. Anderson? Yes. Moretti? Yes. Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano? Yes. Carried 4-0.